welcome to my channel. I am Duana with it, the Christian Beautician. But today we're doing a little something different. We're the kitchen beautician. Anyway, I thought it would be a little good addition to the fact that I am a beautician, but I love to work in the kitchen as well. So today we're going to introduce you to our signature, well, I don't know if I should say signature because I just used a regular recipe, but I mixed in a little things that I wanted to add in it to just give it a little spice. So we're doing today our blueberry pound cake. It is luscious, and I want to share with you what it takes to create this beautiful, delicious dish. So in order to make this blueberry pound cake, you need a few ingredients. So there's a couple of them that I've already started, but I'll let you know what they are. So one, you need some fresh blueberries, hence a blueberry pound cake. 5 eggs that I've already cracked and have set to the side. 1 cup of milk. I use cake flour, so I have 3 cups of cake flour, and it's already added in 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and then we have 2.5 cups of sugar. And here we have, and I'm just dinging all over the place, and here we have flour, and I'll show you what this is for when we get to that step. We also have vanilla flavoring and lemon flavoring, and 3 sticks of butter, 1 margarine, 2 butters. So not 3 sticks of butter, 2 sticks of butter, 1 margarine. So the first step we're going to go to is creaming our butter. We want to make sure that it's nice and creamed together. So how was your Thanksgiving? Did you get to see a lot of your family members? For me, I got to hang out with my mom, my brother, and my sisters. Only one was missing. But other than that, everybody else was there. So what I'm getting ready to do now is going to go ahead and cream this butter. So you're going to hear this noise a little bit, but make sure that when you're creaming it, just cream it on low. Now, one thing that'll help ensure that you can cream your butter really quickly is to make sure that your butter has been softened. Pre-softened. My mom always says leave it out until it gets like room temperature. And once you've creamed your butter, the next step is, and you can see some of your butter added in, but by the time I add my sugar in, it'll be okay. So I'm going to add in my sugar because it was just a little firm. It wasn't as soft as I normally like it, but I added in about 1/3 of the sugar that I'm using, and I'm going to cream all this together. So then the sugar and the butter will now stop so much clumping on my mixer. It'll just go ahead and blend together, which is doing nicely right now. And I try to make sure I get close to the edge of the bowl so that I won't leave any of my ingredients on the side of the bowl. Okay, so now we're going to add 1/3 more of the sugar so I can make sure that I can incorporate it really well. This pound cake is delicious. Now, sometimes people like to serve pound cakes after they have cooled off, but I love this pound cake because I love to serve it hot, because it's nothing like a nice hot blueberry pound cake. And I normally do this recipe like maybe once a year. Some probably could say that it could be done in the summer because of the blueberries, and you'll have nice fresh blueberries. Right now you're kind of the end of the season a little bit, so some of the blueberries are not as sweet. They're kind of tart, but that's what to me makes this pound cake powerful, because you have the sweetness of the pound cake and just the slight tartness of the blueberries, and so it balances out the flavor of the blueberry pound cake. And I was able to find some really, really nice blueberries, even though we're in November. I started making these this blueberry pound cake because once a year, around Thanksgiving, well, not around Thanksgiving, it's most definitely at Thanksgiving. Now I'm getting ready to add in my eggs. I'm going to add them in one at a time so that I can make sure that they're well incorporated into the recipe. Yep, I made a mistake and went a little too fast. So make sure you just keep it on one. You don't have to like overdo it. You just want to make sure it's well incorporated, but I don't want to beat it too hard. As I was saying though, I started bringing this blueberry pound cake recipe to something that I call Thanksgiving breakfast. For some years, me and my family have done Thanksgiving breakfast, and it has been like a hit. Like, people really, really absolutely loved it. And so once we started it, it's like we just couldn't turn around and go back, because people were like, oh my gosh, I'm ready for the I'm ready for your Thanksgiving breakfast. And yes, that blueberry pound cake. So for me, that was a tradition that I wanted to start in my family. I knew that for years my mom always had Thanksgiving dinner, and I didn't want to take that away from her, because she loves gathering people together as well, and she loves it when we're all around her table eating Thanksgiving dinner. So I kept thinking about how could I do something different, and so I thought about it. I'm like, wait a minute, let's do Thanksgiving breakfast. And so, as you know, most people, old school in the South, rather, down here in my neck of the woods, whenever you're cooking Thanksgiving dinner, you kind of get up late at night, over in the morning while everybody else is sleeping, and you start cooking your stuff. And here lately, I've been hearing some women say they don't even do it over in the night no more. They like get up like a couple days before, and they start cooking their collards, they start cooking their turnips, you know, those things that take a long time for you to make sure that that dish is perfect. So a lot of them will go ahead and start doing it a few days in advance. So for me, when I started thinking about Thanksgiving breakfast, it dawned on me that it would be a hit, because normally those women that are staying up all night cooking, trying to make sure that that dinner is prepared perfect, they don't stop. They don't get a chance to stop and eat breakfast. So what happened was when I told them about our Thanksgiving breakfast, they was like, wait. Some of them was like, how am I going to do it? I got turkey in the stove, ham in the stove, and all of this and that and the third. And so, but when I did it and they came, they were like, oh my gosh, this is great. Because what happens is they're tired, they have not eaten anything, they've just been, you know, probably tasting some of the food, but they haven't really sat down to take care of themselves. And so when they come to Thanksgiving breakfast, it's my opportunity to take care of them. You might see me from time to time turning the bowl. The reason I'm doing it is I'm trying to make sure that I get all of my ingredients off of the side, and everything looks beautifully incorporated. So now we're going to alternate our flour and our milk. So I'm going to start with flour, and I'm going to alternate flour and milk, and I want to end with flour. So I'll use just about a fourth of this, about a fourth of the flour mixture, and I'll incorporate that very well. I love it when I start making cakes. The house smells so sweet. And I'll be so ready to indulge in my slice. But yeah, so when we did the Thanksgiving breakfast, they loved it. And so every year they have looked forward to my Thanksgiving breakfast. And I get excited about doing it too. You may be wondering, what do you serve? And it's like Thanksgiving breakfast. Well, you know, when you're just doing breakfast for yourself or your immediate family, if your family is rather small, you'll probably only, you know, do like grits, eggs, sausage, and toast or something like that. But we go all out and try to make sure that everybody that comes has something that they enjoy on the table. So we have done like liver pudding. And again, I'm getting this off of the sides, just making sure that everything is well incorporated. We've done like liver pudding, bacon. What else have we done? We've done salmon patties. I love salmon patties, y'all. They are so good. Maybe one of these days I'll get on here and I'll show you my salmon patty slider. It's amazing. And so we've done that, and we've done different kinds of sausages. Like we do fresh sausage, and then we do a beef sausage. So different kinds of things like potatoes. We've done pancakes and waffles, and I'm talking all of this at the same time. And then at the end, I come out with all of my little sweet delicacies that just top out the morning. So we're all, after our bellies are nice and full with our nice hot grits and our sides to go with it, as they're all sitting around the table and talking about how they've enjoyed the food, and they're talking about the Thanksgiving traditions, what we're thankful for, and things of that nature, here I come into the room with this nice piping hot blueberry pound cake. And I started to go back with that flour, but no, I need to go back with the milk. I'll do a little bit more. But it is such an interesting time. I love the festivities. I love having the family over, and I love feeding them. It's always something that my daughters and my husband and now my grandchildren look forward to. Okay, I'm going to go back with some more flour. I got most of it in this time. So that this time when I add my milk, the last thing I'll have to add is the flour. I started with flour, I want to end with flour. What is your favorite recipe for the holidays? Comment below, let me know. I would love to hear what your favorite recipe is for the holidays, or whatever your tradition is. I love trying to create new traditions for me and my family. But I also don't like breaking the old traditions. Like my mom, being that my mom and my dad always instituted us being there for the holidays. I always try to make sure that whatever I plan is around them doing whatever they do. Because I know that it's important for them, and they've been doing it for years, keeping some of the traditions. And I don't want to take that away from my mom at all. I would never do that. So I always try to find a creative way to institute whatever tradition that I'm doing for my family in a way that won't stop whatever it is my mom is doing. And finally the last bit of flour. Everything is well incorporated. And be careful when you're coming towards the sides and the flour is still up on the sides, because it can cause you to look a little messy when you're cooking. Once again, I want to make sure I scrape all of this ingredients off of the side. Oh yeah, everything looks well incorporated. And those beaters, wow, and those beaters look delicious. Whew. As a child, I used to love getting beaters. My dad always got in a bowl, and with it, my mom having 4 children, you had to really go quickly to get the beaters, because if you didn't get there first come, you wasn't going to get served. Okay, so I'm going to push this to the side for right now. I don't want to drop cake batter everywhere, but I don't want to put those beaters away too soon before we've had a chance to lick all that goody goodness. So the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to oil my pan so that the cake doesn't stick to the pan. And I have the 2-piece bundt pan set. But if you have one that's just the whole piece together, feel free to use that one too. And I would do old school. My mama is phenomenal at old school. She is phenomenal at flouring that pan and getting the cake to not look like it's got flour pockets on it. I'm not good at that, so I'll use me something that I can spray on. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and fold in my cake batter. It's a nice, thick, heavy cake, I guess that's why they call it pound cake. And that batter looks so nice and creamy and full and thick. I'm just going to turn it some so that I can get some equally on every side. Doesn't that look good? It smells so good, buttery. And I had some technical difficulties within my baking. Within my taping. So I still remember I added it. There were some things that I was still adding when my camera went out. So I want to make sure I get all the air pockets out here. I'm going to push this to the side just for a moment, because I need to do another little trick. Now remember, I told you I would tell you what we was going to do with this flour later, so this is what we're going to do. It's a kind of neat little trick, but before I do it, gosh, y'all, look at these blueberries. Look how big that is. There's some, like, really juicy, big blueberries in here. I got to at least taste one, right? They're so good. Okay, if I don't stop, I'll be done eat this whole bowl and we won't have no blueberry pound cake. So, what I'm doing is dropping these blueberries into this flour. Just a neat little trick to kind of coat the blueberries, so that when we put them into the cake batter, that they won't all stay in one place and drop all the way down to the bottom, that they'll suspend within the cake. But now, if they do still fall, I promise y'all I'm going to enjoy this. I promise you I will enjoy this cake. When I was little, my mom used to make a raisin pound cake, and she didn't know this little trick right here. These little blueberries look like little snow bunnies. See how pretty those are? They're actually coated. And you don't need a lot of flour. You just need enough to be able to coat the blueberries. And so you see I got a lot of blueberries going into this cake. But when I was little, my mom used to make this raisin pound cake. And every time she made it, the same thing would happen. She would put her raisins in. And when she would put her raisins in, literally, a lot of her raisins would fall to the bottom. That wasn't a problem for me, because I used to love her raisin pound cakes. And look at me. I'm going to make this mess. But I can't mess up this goody goodness on these beaters. Them beaters going to have to be still. I'm saving them for later. But at any rate, she would take and she would add her raisins to it. And I'm going to throw these raisins in because I'm trying to get some of them to go ahead and start kind of going midstream, because I got a lot of blueberries. Y'all probably hear my grandson in the back. He wants so bad to be in this video taping with me. But I know if I let him loose, it won't be good. Y'all won't even understand what I'm saying, because he'll make so much noise. But he's a special little grandbaby. He's always busy and getting into stuff and keeping us in here on our toes. But so she would do her, when she would do her raisin pound cake, the raisins would fall to the bottom, and I would come in at night and I would slide open her cake pan and I would rake those raisins off and I would eat that. Because at the bottom of a pound cake is like that soft, gooey goodness at the bottom. And so I would go in there and I would take all of the raisins out of the cake. And she would always wonder who it was. So she watches this now. She's going to know that it was me. And I still to this day love like raisin cakes. I don't know. Just, I'm not really a, what's that cake called? A fruit cake fan? I'm not really a fruit cake fan. I'm not excited about all of the types of fruit that's in it. But you know, some people love it. So I don't knock it. FYI, this is a good way to let out some frustration, just throwing them blueberries down in it. But you should smell it. Like I used a half a teaspoon of lemon flavoring, and I used a half a teaspoon of lemon flavoring, and then 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And this cake smells luscious. Like, oh my goodness, it smells so good. Oh, and just before I forget, you want to make sure that you put this in a cold oven. So I do not have, this cake recipe does not call for you to preheat your oven. So do not preheat. Just go ahead and put it in a cold oven, and all of this is going to bake up together just as nicely. And this is going to kind of be a big, thick cake. And we're going to also have a drizzle for it. Some of these blueberries want to just do what they want to do and just fall on in. I want them to go deep. So I'm throwing them. Just a little technique that I'm using to try to make sure that I get my blueberries deep down within the cake. Not just rising all at the top or just falling all the way to the bottom. So what are some tips and tricks you use for your pound cakes? Feel free to let me know. Comment at the bottom. And oh, I almost forgot to tell you, subscribe. I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. And I will be adding more cake, not just cake recipes, but more recipes of things that I make and create. I love to cook. And I would love to share some of the other recipes that I use at home for me and my family with you. So please subscribe. And as you know, when I started this video, I told you that I'm the one with the Christian beautician. Some people think that means that I'm perfect, but it doesn't. It just means that a lot of times when people come to my salon and they get their hair done, they don't just get to experience me as a hairstylist, but they get to experience the kind of spiritual side of me, because they talk to me about some of the things they're going through, and we pray together, and I'll share with them whatever the Lord has laid on my heart. And so how it all kind of came about is a customer referred somebody some time ago, and she said, I told them when they come, I just want them to know that you're a Christian beautician, and it stuck. And so everybody else after that, when they would refer somebody to me, they said, she's a Christian beautician. So what I'm going to do is I'm dropping this down a little bit so I can make sure I get all of the air bubbles and pockets out. And then I'm kind of poking some of these blueberries down in it. Not too deep. I don't want my hands filled with cake batter. I just want to poke some of them in right before it goes into the oven. And y'all, I'm telling y'all, this is a beautiful, luscious cake. And I'm kind of nervous because people are already waiting for this cake. So as soon as I finish, I have to get on my phone and call up people and say, okay, it's ready. Because they've been waiting on it. They were asking me at Thanksgiving at my mom's house, what pound cake are you going to cook? And because I ran short on time, I ended up not cooking the pound cake on Thanksgiving. And so I had other things, but I didn't do the pound cake. And so with that being said, my brother-in-law said to me, I want a pound cake. And he said, I want lemon. And then somebody else said, no, I just want a plain pound cake, a plain old-fashioned pound cake. And then my sister looked at me and said, what kind of pound cake are you making? And I was like, well, see, what the problem is that I had planned on making a blueberry pound cake. And everybody was like, oh, okay, no lemon, no regular, make it blueberry. So blueberry it is. And so this is what I'm sharing with you tonight, our blueberry pound cake. And now it's time for the oven. And remember, you have to put this in the oven, in a cold oven. So I'm not going to turn it on till just now. And Always put your cake on your second layer because that's your baked layer, and it normally turns out good when you put it there. And it just depends on your oven. Now I'm gonna bake this on 325. Went past it. It takes normally about an hour or so, but it just depends on the cake. So you kind of let the cake tell you. Don't be so in a rush. I kind of take my time and I peep at it every now and again, but I'll generally give it about an hour and then I'll peep in. And once it's done, we'll pop it out and we'll go on to the next step of this blueberry pound cake. I'm so excited. It smells so luscious in here. It smells like fresh blueberries on a hot summer day. But it's not hot summer. We're in November. So it's going to be for a nice, warm, it's supposed to be winter, but it really doesn't feel like it outside. But nevertheless, keep on watching. Oh, look at that. It's beautiful. Oh, and I meant to tell you that it's okay to put a pan up under your cake just to make sure that if anything drips out, that it won't fall into the bottom of your stove. But look how pretty that is. Oh, that's gorgeous. It turned out just the way I wanted it to turn out. So I'm going to sit it on this plate for just a few minutes to give it some opportunity to cool down. And you hear my stove as it's singing in the background, telling me to take it off, take it out. But look, and those blueberries bursted open and gave me their luscious love. And so you can tell that there's some here. And probably when we take it out, you'll be able to see some at the bottom, but they'll also be dispensed throughout. So I'm going to let it sit to the side, and I'm going to go on to our next phase, which is making the icing for our cake.